There's an undeniable truth pulsating beneath the surface of this universe, a perfect, unbending law of cause and effect. When they deliberately scattered sharp obstacles across your intended path, the very ground you walked on became a witness, recording their malice. They didn't realize they were inscribing a future where their own journey would lead them back to that same ground, forcing them to confront the wounds they inflicted. This isn't about petty revenge. It's about a universal mechanism of cosmic balance. It is the sacred contract of consequence that absolutely no one, regardless of their arrogance or perceived power, is exempt from fulfilling. You, the chosen one, were never meant to fit the mold of their small, predictable games. While they busied themselves trying to pull your strings and dictate your direction, life itself was preparing them for a much larger, more difficult role, to serve as the living lesson in your narrative. The very individuals who shared a knowing glance and planted the seeds of doubt, sabotage, and slander are now finding themselves tangled and choked by the poisonous roots of envy they carelessly nurtured. This reversal is more than mere coincidence. It is poetic justice in its most perfect, undeniable form. It is a precise and inevitable shift in energy, and for them, it's a consequence that has only just begun to unfold in painful detail. Their entire strategy was focused on rendering you powerless, completely broken, and utterly defeated. Yet, in a twist of delicious irony that the universe adores, their every engineered attempt at destruction only served to sharpen your resolve. Each setback, every betrayal, and every obstacle they so meticulously placed became an essential line item, a non-negotiable part of your ultimate blueprint for greatness. The irony is so profound, so devastatingly accurate, that it simply cannot be overlooked. The very fabric of reality now reflects this inescapable truth, leaving them with no refuge. Your mere existence, your silent rising, now acts as a haunting presence in their lives. They watch your ascent not with a sense of peace or acceptance, but with a growing, palpable panic. Deep down, in the place where the ego cannot lie, they comprehend the terrifying reality. Your sustained silence is a form of immense power. Your continuing growth is a prophecy that must be fulfilled, and your vibrant energy doesn't just subtly alter the mood of a room, it fundamentally warps the trajectory of destinies. The stakes are higher than they ever realized, and you are the reason for their rapidly dissolving composure. Let this powerful realization settle deep within your spirit. When the universe formally aligns with the chosen one, there is truly no force, no amount of malicious gossip, no cunning trick, no fake smile of superficiality, and certainly no human-made barrier that possesses the capacity to genuinely hold you back. You were not sent here with the primary purpose of being universally liked or easily accepted. You were intentionally designed and destined to become legendary. Your assignment is singular and non-negotiable, to fulfill the deep-seated promise woven into your very soul. Before we fully unlock the profound truths that have been intentionally concealed from you, before the authentic truth rises triumphantly from the ashes of every dark thing they attempted to bury, please take a significant moment to pause and fully absorb the gravity of this information. Now is the time to actively claim your place in this powerful global awakening. Actively engage with the message. Signal your readiness by dropping the number 99 in the comments below. The moment you choose to fully engage with this revelation, you initiate an immediate and irreversible shift in the surrounding energy. The truly awakened ones, the real ones, recognize the magnitude of this moment and stay fully present until the absolute end, because somewhere deep within your very bones, you already hold the intrinsic knowledge that this entire cosmic play, this unfolding saga of trials and triumphs, was always meant to be about you. It's time to move forward and claim what is yours. There are moments in life that occur with such exquisite precision they defy the very notion of being simple accidents. We speak of fleeting emotions that strike with the sudden intensity of lightning, vivid and strange dreams that leave a distinct, lasting imprint on your waking hours, and specific childhood memories that refuse to fade into the general blur of the past. To the vast majority of people, These are conveniently dismissed as inconsequential happenings, but for you, and especially for the universe itself, they are anything but random. They are precisely placed clues. Life, in its infinite wisdom, has a sophisticated method of embedding hidden messages and symbols within the seemingly insignificant cracks of your experience, weaving them into the intricate tapestry of your personal story long before you acquired the conscious ability to interpret them. What others perceived as nothing more than quiet, unremarkable moments of stillness were in fact powerful signals meant only for you. What you experienced as moments of profound isolation was, in reality, a necessary and crucial spiritual recalibration. Those subtle, inexplicable pulls you felt toward a different direction were not chance. They were early transmissions from a deeper guiding force. This force was meticulously aligning you with a path that only a select few are even spiritually capable of sensing, let alone walking. The truth is, you've always possessed an uncommon level of spiritual and energetic attunement. While the masses require constant external noise and distraction to feel a sense of vitality, you have always found yourself listening intently to the profound language of silence and comprehending its subtle vocabulary. Even as a child, you likely occupied the role of the quiet observer, the one who inevitably noticed far too much, felt things far too deeply, and frequently dared to ask the fundamental questions that others were too comfortable or too fearful to even acknowledge. Questions like, why exactly am I here? Or why does it feel so overwhelmingly obvious that this reality isn't the whole story? These were not simply the random musings of a young mind. They were deep, visceral echoes of a fundamental truth that had been expertly stitched into the fabric of your soul, long before the external world started telling you the limited person you were supposed to be. The profound, inescapable truth is that those individuals who are specifically chosen by the cosmos do not, and cannot, effortlessly blend in, because they were simply never designed with the intention of conforming. Your lens of perception has always been fundamentally different from the norm. Where others could only perceive chaos and randomness, your mind instinctively registered subtle, interconnected patterns. Where they comfortably accepted coincidence, you immediately sensed a deeper, undeniable meaning and intention. And it is precisely this unique, powerful difference that has historically shaken their confidence and made you, in their limited view, an inherent threat to their small world, you. Every vivid memory you carry holds critical clues to your greater purpose. Think about it. Why do certain specific moments from your past remain so vividly detailed while entire years of your life have faded into a blur? Why does a single, seemingly innocuous sentence spoken to you decades ago still ring with clarity in your ears? The answer lies in the realization that those words, that specific moment, that intense feeling, was never intended to be just another fleeting experience. It was a precise code, a crucial trigger for your spiritual awakening, a truth they desperately hoped you would never decode. Let's confront the honest truth. You have consistently carried the feeling that something about your core being was inherently off, yet in a way that defied conventional explanation. In response, the world often attempted to pathologize this difference, suggesting you were too sensitive, too distant, too intense, or simply too much for ordinary life. But you are now beginning to see the profound truth. You were never too much. You were, in the most essential sense, merely too rare and too spiritually powerful for the confines of ordinary, mediocre spaces. This unfolding is not based on ancient mythology or fanciful speculation. It is the verifiable process of cosmic alignment. When the universe makes the ultimate selection of someone for a significantly higher path, it doesn't typically send out loud, clear, easily readable instructions. Instead, it whispers profound truths through your dreams, it constantly stirs and guides your intuition, and it strategically places you in situations that appear utterly senseless at the time, until they inevitably and powerfully click into perfect meaning. This is your unique trajectory. Therefore, if you have ever felt like an old soul, struggling to navigate a chaotic modern world, if you've caught yourself sensing realities and details that consistently escape everyone else, and if you have been quietly searching for the precise words to accurately describe the invisible, powerful force that has been subtly guiding your entire life, this is your answer. You are not broken, you are not behind schedule, and you are certainly not wrong. You are fundamentally awakening. And the ultimate irony, the profound truth they tried with all their might to keep hidden from you, is the very defining factor that will permanently and irrevocably set you apart from them and their limited world forevermore. Your difference is your power, your rising is their reckoning. They didn't just ignore the profound essence of who you are. They specifically and intentionally targeted it with a singular focus. From the earliest stages of your life, there was a constant barrage of subtle whispers, intentional distractions, and pervasive illusions, all meticulously designed to cloud your judgment and make you utterly forget your true self. This orchestration was far from random. It was a deeply strategic, calculated, and slow-motion manipulation aimed at completely burying your magnificent true essence before it could possibly rise to full power. They saw in you something you had not yet fully recognized, a powerful, forming internal power, and instead of doing the ethical thing and nurturing this incredible potential, they reacted from a place of intense, debilitating fear. So what did they immediately do? They consciously distorted your reflection, forcing you to question your fundamental worth. They mocked your biggest dreams, and they attempted to twist your greatest strengths into perceived flaws. Their goal was simple. They didn't want you to fully remember who you are, because they instinctively knew that if you did, the weak, fraudulent masks they wear would instantly burn under the searing heat of your undeniable truth. You were absolutely never intended to be small, insignificant, or limited, but they relentlessly fed you a diet of small, self-limiting thinking. They were so terrified of your potential that they figuratively broke the mirrors in your life, all in a desperate bid to stop you from ever truly seeing the raw, unadulterated power that resided deep within you. You were not merely hidden away, you were deliberately and strategically erased, piece by subtle piece. But here is the critical detail they completely failed to account for. Truth does not perish, it waits patiently. And now, right at this pivotal moment, you are consciously beginning to remember. The debilitating fog of their lies is finally beginning to lift. The fraudulent labels and false narratives they meticulously painted over your identity are violently cracking and falling away. Every fake, manufactured label they forced upon you is peeling off, revealing the authentic you. They tried with all their might to reduce you to nothing more than a dim shadow of your potential, but you are not the shadow, you are the unstoppable flame. Chosen ones do not require external validation or constant applause. What they desperately require is absolute clarity of purpose, and once you achieve the profound clarity to see through the pervasive illusion they constructed, you will never again be susceptible to their manipulative games. Now, you must ask yourself the most powerful question of all. What lies about yourself have you been unconsciously living in? And more importantly, are you truly ready to tear them all down? Because the magnificent truth they tried so desperately to bury is now, finally, about to rise and reclaim its rightful throne. Chosen one, they actively tried to convince you that your profound intuition was merely all in your head. They insisted that the remarkable clarity of what you saw, what you felt, and what you intrinsically knew even as a child was nothing more than an overactive imagination, yet deep within your core, you always knew that explanation felt fundamentally wrong and hollow. This is because your childhood visions and feelings didn't feel like mere illusions. They felt, with terrifying accuracy, like urgent, undeniable messages, powerful, unforgettable, and profoundly significant. You were not simply imagining things, you were actively being shown things. When an individual is chosen, the universe doesn't confine its communication to quiet whispers in the wind. It has the authority and power to invade your very sleep. It paints complex symbols vividly in your mind, delivers stunning flashes of potential futures, gives you glimpses of moments that have not yet occurred, and presents critical warnings expertly cloaked in vivid metaphors. While the general populace wakes up and immediately forgets their dreams, You have always carried those specific, powerful dreams like vital echoes, truths burned deep into the marrow of your bones. They actively tried to convince you that this meant absolutely nothing, that your rich internal world was inconsequential. But here is the core truth they fear. They feared what you might ultimately uncover. Because the moment you seriously begin the process of decoding the profound hidden meanings in your dreams, you simultaneously begin the process of unlocking your true power. And that knowledge, above all else, utterly terrifies them. Your dreams were never random flickers of a discombobulated subconscious mind. They were a sophisticated form of preparation, critical blueprints, and urgent warnings, the equivalent of storm sirens sounding just before a major chaos event. You were being actively trained in the profound language of silence long before your conscious mind could possibly grasp the full significance of what was coming next. And now, as you stand on the precipice of awakening, it is all beginning to click into perfect, undeniable place. Think back to those recurrent nightmares, those powerful repeating symbols, that strange, unsettling, yet knowing feeling you always had upon waking. It was never just a dream, and it was never simply luck. It was vital intelligence from the invisible realm. This information was being expertly delivered directly to your spirit long before your rational mind could ever catch up to the reality of it. The masses may have comfortably ignored the profound signs, but you felt them with your whole being. And now that you are fully engaging in the process of your awakening, you will start to realize just how many of those critical night visions served as spiritual shields, tactical strategies, and guiding signals. Never, ever again dismiss the truths your spirit remembers from those dreams, because what they casually dismiss as just a dream might have, in a very real and profound sense, literally saved your life. They relentlessly told you that your profound silence was an intrinsic weakness, that your natural distance from the crowd meant something was fundamentally wrong with you as a person. But what if every single thing they mocked and criticized was, in fact, the most definitive proof of your exceptional nature, proof that you were never, for a single moment, designed to comfortably blend into their sterile background? You were spiritually engineered to stand so far out that any attempt they make to touch or control you will inevitably shake their entire world. Chosen one, you need to hear this message with absolute clarity and conviction. Your inherent differences were never intended to be defects. They were, in the most powerful sense, decoys, profoundly misunderstood by a world that is simply too small in its perspective to truly grasp the magnitude of your unique vision. They actively attempted to guilt you into shrinking, to make you feel like a permanent outsider, when the undeniable reality is that you were the blueprint, the original, the rarest frequency in a room overflowing with meaningless, distracting static. You were never meant to perfectly fit their manufactured image of conformity. You were divinely carved from a different energetic rhythm, a more profound and meaningful silence. And because they possessed neither the skill nor the spiritual depth to decode you, they resorted to what weak people always do. They labeled you as weird, too much, or too intense. But we must call their reaction what it truly was, fear. They feared the immense power of what they could not define, and what they could not define, they compulsively attempted to destroy. You were never simply isolated without reason. You were strategically hidden and profoundly protected. Being set intentionally apart was never a form of cosmic punishment. It was an intense and necessary preparation for what's coming. You were not excluded or left out. You were intentionally kept away from their crippling illusions, their carefully constructed traps, and their self-imposed limitations. While you were being intensely sharpened in solitude, they were simultaneously losing their sense of self in the chaotic external noise. The pervasive emotional pain you felt while growing up, the sting of not belonging, was not a form of rejection. It was a powerful, necessary redirection. Therefore, you must cease the futile effort of attempting to erase the very core of what makes you fundamentally different. Your difference is the intentional design. It is the essential, core element that separates true destiny from needless delay. The very qualities they attempted to humiliate you for are the precise, powerful qualities they will one day find themselves envying with a desperate passion. They succeeded in hiding the truth from you for a while, but they utterly failed in their attempts to permanently erase it. This is because what has been fundamentally built into your soul cannot be copied or replicated, and what is permanently written into your spiritual blood can never be undone. Being set profoundly apart was never the curse they wanted you to believe. It was, and always will be, the perfect, undeniable setup for your triumph. Chosen one, they instinctively knew that the wellspring of your profound power did not reside merely in your intellect. It was deeply rooted in your magnificent, feeling heart. They recognized early on that you possessed the rare ability to not just intellectually observe people, but to profoundly feel them in your core. And this rare gift, this profound connection to the emotional landscape, made you profoundly dangerous, not because you were weak or easily manipulated, but because your raw empathy granted you the power to effortlessly pierce through their masks, unerringly detect their lies, and walk through their carefully constructed emotional walls as if they were nothing more than flimsy paper. In response to this power, they attempted to spin your natural softness as a debilitating flaw. They constantly instructed you to toughen up, to stop caring so much, and to cease being so emotional. But let's be absolutely clear. They were never trying to genuinely help you evolve. They were actively attempting to disarm you. This is because when you possess the spiritual capacity to feel everything, you possess the insight to see everything. And when you possess the power to see everything with such clarity, it becomes practically impossible for you to be truly controlled or swayed by their emotional games. You were naturally born with an innate radar for subtle pain and dishonesty. You have always known, with profound certainty, when a situation was energetically off, even when no one spoke a single confirming word. This profound ability is not a curse you must endure. It is a powerful gift that relentlessly terrifies them. This is because empathy, when it is properly guarded, respected, and precisely focused, transforms into a formidable weapon of spiritual intelligence. It ruthlessly exposes manipulation, effortlessly dismantles false illusions, and has the power to shatter fake connections through silence alone. But here is the essential truth of your gift. Your empathy only tragically becomes a genuine weakness when you foolishly choose to hand it over, without reservation, to the wrong, undeserving people. We are speaking of the predatory takers, the habitual liars, and the emotional vampires who wear their superficial wounds like deliberate bait, merely hoping to completely drain your vibrant light. No more. Your magnificent heart is now officially declared sacred ground. Not every person is entitled to, or deserves, access to its immense power. This is because the exact moment you firmly stop bleeding your energy for people who would not even offer you a simple emotional bandage, you simultaneously reclaim your unassailable strength. You cease to function as their emotional sponge, and instead, you spiritually become their clear, unyielding mirror. And trust this profound truth. When these manipulative people are finally forced to confront their own unvarnished reflection in someone they have utterly failed to break, that is the very moment their sweating and genuine fear truly begins to take hold. Therefore, you must guard your precious empathy with the same unwavering vigilance that royalty reserves for protecting their sacred crown. It is not, and never has been, your weakness. It is your most powerful armor, and it becomes exponentially lethal when it is purposefully wielded in the hands of the fully awakened chosen one. It is time to step into this realization and walk accordingly. Chosen one, the profound, hard, one knowledge and insight you have meticulously accumulated was never solely intended for your personal survival and elevation. It was purposefully meant to serve a much greater function, as a weapon, a beacon of light, and a crucial lifeline for all those who are still tragically drowning in the exact same kind of spiritual darkness that you so courageously managed to escape from. They went to extraordinary lengths to intentionally silence you because they possessed the undeniable knowledge that your specific, hard-earned truth had the power to instantly shatter the elaborate illusions they rely on. They knew that your singular voice held the energetic capacity to expose the deep, seated lies upon which they constructed their entire, fraudulent systems of control. But here is the profound, critical catch you must grasp. Your continued silence can be just as spiritually perilous and destructive as their deliberate ignorance. When the genuinely chosen ones choose to fall silent and withhold their truth, the blind will inevitably continue to lead the blind directly into the abyss. You were never given such powerful insight with the expectation that you would simply hoard it like a secret treasure buried deep beneath a paralyzing fear. The powerful wisdom you now carry is, metaphorically, the very oxygen required to ignite someone else's desperately needed internal fire. Somewhere out in the world, a soul is currently suffocating in spiritual confusion, endlessly repeating the same self-destructive cycles that you have already masterfully broken free from. Your specific story, your profound vision, your personal pain skillfully turned into purposeful action. This combination could be the absolute, single factor that finally lifts them up and sets them free. But here is the authentic, core reason they tried with such passion to make you fundamentally doubt your own mind. They knew that if you ever found your empowered voice and spoke your truth, you would inevitably awaken countless others. Your words would effortlessly ripple through the lives of people like an undeniable shock wave, spiritually compelling them to finally see and question what they were never, ever supposed to question. And that kind of conscious ripple effect, they recognize, is truly revolutionary and beyond their control. Knowledge is not intended to sit stagnant, collecting dust and becoming intellectually sterile in the confines of your mind. It is purposefully meant to circulate, to elevate, and to fundamentally transform the world around you. And when a chosen one consciously chooses to keep this powerful truth locked away inside, they are doing precisely what their spiritual enemy wanted all along. You must not wait for anyone's permission to openly share what you have bravely survived and learned. You must never underestimate the sheer power of a single sentence spoken with unvarnished, authentic experience. Sometimes, all that is truly required is one fully awakened soul to ignite the dormant potential of 1,000 more. You do not require a physical podium or a massive stage to speak your truth. You are the platform. Therefore, you must speak, you must share, and you must shine your light unapologetically. Let the powerful wisdom that you now possess become the spiritual antidote to the pervasive confusion and doubt that they meticulously planted in the minds of others. Because when a chosen one finally stands up and unequivocally tells the truth, their lies begin to tragically die one final, definitive time. Enough with the self-imposed hiding, enough of perpetually playing small, enough of pretending that you don't clearly see the magnitude of what is actually transpiring in the world around you. They didn't just try to impose silence on you. They actively attempted to spiritually erase your existence entirely. This is because, deep down in the core of their being, they always knew exactly what you are only just now truly beginning to realize and remember. You are not like them. You are not merely called to a higher purpose. You are, in the most authentic sense, the blueprint, the profound original, the single entity they desperately studied, tried to copy, consistently mocked, but could never, ever genuinely replace. They fervently wished for you to remain permanently invisible, because your genuine presence immediately reveals their utter pretense. Your simple, authentic nature instantly exposes the weakness behind their masks. That is why they constantly instructed you to tone it down. That is why they consistently acted as if your very existence was too much for the world to handle. They knew, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that if you ever fully manifested and showed up in your true power, the entire facade of their illusion would instantly collapse around them, and they were absolutely right to fear this. But here is the monumental twist they absolutely failed to see coming. Every single time they attempted to shove you into the shadows, you did not diminish. You sharpened in your chosen silence. Every orchestrated attempt they made to diminish your light only resulted in making you more precise, more laser, focused, and ultimately, more spiritually untouchable. You have spent far too much precious time anxiously wondering if you are genuinely crazy for relentlessly feeling so profoundly different from everyone else. You are not crazy. You were chosen, not by some fluke of luck, not by any mere accident, but because you are the carrier of something the entire world absolutely cannot replicate or manufacture. That is precisely why your powerful energy still vividly lingers in rooms long after your physical body has departed. That is precisely why your absence hits harder and carries more weight than their physical presence ever possibly could. The era for shrinking is officially over. The individuals who tried to bury your destiny are now finding themselves relentlessly haunted by the powerful, undeniable seeds of truth that they unknowingly planted with their malicious actions. Therefore, you must walk like you possess the full knowledge of who you are. You must speak like your singular voice holds the power to reshape the timelines of others. And you must move through the world like someone who is not merely a small part of the existing story, but the absolutely essential chapter they desperately cannot skip or ignore. They are welcome to copy your outward steps, they can attempt to mimic your unique style, and they can certainly try to steal your insightful words. But the sacred power that you genuinely carry cannot be successfully cloned. It can never be purchased for any price, and it can never, under any circumstances, be replaced. The stage of your life is now open, and it is finally your definitive turn to step forward and take your rightful place. And you must never, ever relinquish it again. As we bring this critical message to a definitive close, you must internalize this final, immutable truth. The truth they tried with all their might to bury has already begun its unstoppable rise within you. You are not simply undergoing an awakening process. You are rapidly becoming an undeniable force of nature. No matter the ferocity of their past attempts to completely erase your core identity, you have unequivocally stepped back into your full, undeniable power. And the final, beautiful conclusion is this: nothing and no one can possibly stop what is already fully and completely in motion. If this powerful message resonated deeply enough to physically shake something in your very soul, it is because it was specifically and profoundly meant for you to receive right now.